You're watching News at 8 live from our Pocket Hill studios in Highlands, Harare. Thank you for giving us your time. I am Yvonne Mukondani.
My name is Joyce Mabika. Susan Masona is on sign language. These are our leading stories tonight. Second Republic records major milestones in the health sector.
In business, government prioritizes evidence-based policy making as local content benchmarks take center stage.
And in sport, South Africa-based Pocket Watch storms to Castle Tankard glory.
Those are our leading stories, and now for the news in detail. The President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, says government and other stakeholder efforts are yielding positive results towards ensuring access to affordable quality and specialist health services, as indicated by rising life expectancy and a drop in maternal mortality rate. The details.
The Second Republic has registered huge milestones in the health sector by ensuring availability of medicines and affordability of services across the country. Speaking at the commissioning of refurbished Adlam House and Nurses' Home at Parirenyatwa Group of Hospitals this Friday, the President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, said government's efforts in the sector are bearing fruit, with life expectancy on the rise while maternal mortality rate has significantly dropped.
Let us always strive to use our own brick and mortar, steel and wood, and all other products to consolidate and broaden the value chains of our country's construction industry. Overall, it is pleasing that notable progress is being made across our health delivery sector towards the realization of universal health coverage, as well as access to affordable, quality and specialist health services. The reduction of maternal mortality reflects strengthened maternal and child health services in our country. Life expectancy is also rising, a testament that the interventions deployed by government alongside other stakeholders are yielding positive results. Additionally, we are strengthening specialized care and emergency response systems in our country.
Government is ready to avail requisite support for nurse training while incentivizing professionals to uphold high standards.
Student nurse training and medical education are critical pillars of our health system. Nurse trainees, along with doctors and all other health care personnel being trained throughout institutions of higher learning, are the backbone of the health delivery system of tomorrow. My government stands ready to scale up the requisite support to ensure that they have suitable and well-equipped facilities appropriate for their training. May I take this opportunity of this occasion to express my profound gratitude to all the tutors, consultants, and clinical instructors for their role in building a court of world-class and highly sought-after health service personnel.
Dr. Mnangagwa also challenged student nurses to remain patriotic and serve the interests of the nation at all costs.
Rise up to the challenge. Never look down upon yourselves. All things are possible. Dare to dream. Work with zeal to achieve your set goals and transform your future. Take pride in wholeheartedly providing life-saving health care services to your communities, to your parents, siblings, and your relatives. Ngazvikufadzei kurapa nokuraramisa mhuri yeZimbabwe. Zimbabwe is our only God-given motherland. The onus is on us to build and modernize it into what we desire through hard work, perseverance, focus, brick upon brick, and step by step.
Under the Presidential Hospital Renovation Program, works are underway at Mpilo Hospital in Bulawayo, Salim Mugabe Central Hospital in Harare. The refurbishment exercise will soon move to other referral and district hospitals across the country. Bruce Chawanda, SABC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe is among 35 countries expected to grace the swearing-in and inauguration ceremony of Ugandan President-elect Yoweri Museveni at the Kololo Independence Grounds in Kampala this Tuesday. Vice President, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, will represent the President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, at this momentous occasion.
A jubilant atmosphere characterizes the Ugandan capital city, Kampala, just a few days before the swearing-in and inauguration of President Yoweri Museveni for the 7th elective term of office. This event is set to be held at the Kololo Independence Grounds this Tuesday, the 12th of May. Now, Zimbabwe is among the top list of international delegates that have been invited to this momentous occasion, which also includes 35 heads of states drawn from within and beyond Africa. On behalf of President Emmerson Mnangagwa, Vice President, General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga will represent Zimbabwe at this swearing-in ceremony for President Yoweri Museveni. In respect of the fraternal relations that exist between Zimbabwe and Uganda, this invite that has been extended to Zimbabwe speaks to the deep ties that exist between the two nations, stretching over many decades. This, according to Zimbabwe's Deputy Ambassador to Kenya, Uganda, and Somalia, Ms. Silibaziso Manyonga.
We are here in Kampala, Uganda. I am actually here representing my ambassador, Ambassador Winnipeg Moyo. She is the ambassador to Kenya, Uganda, and to Somalia. And indeed, we are waiting for the Honorable Vice President, Dr. Constantino Chiwenga, who we are expecting to arrive to represent His Excellency Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa at the inauguration or swearing-in ceremony for the President-elect of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni.
Zimbabwe and Uganda are currently exploring economic synergies, and this after the two nations successfully hosted a business forum that was convened in Harare in March this year. Dubbed the Zimbabwe-Uganda Business Forum, this platform brought together policymakers, investors, and business executives as they formulated ways and strategies to unlock opportunities in trade, tourism, and investment. This is part of the broader direction that government is directing to enhance regional integration.
As the Zimbabwean delegation, the fact that we are being represented at such a high level is it shows on its own that our relations with Uganda are very strong, especially our political relations, and we are now working very hard to make sure that our economic relations are also improved and strengthened.
Essentially, the visit by Vice President General Retired Dr. Constantino Chiwenga will further cement these conversations while also further strengthening existing ties between Zimbabwe and Uganda. Theophilus Shuma, SABC News, Kampala.
Government says it will complete all the independence legacy projects that's in Matabeleland South province. Now, this was revealed by Vice President Colonel Retired Dr. Kembo Mohadi when he addressed Matabeleland South Provincial Coordinating Committee in Mapisa this Saturday.
Still basking in the glory of having successfully coordinated a historic and a memorable 46th National Independence celebrations here at Mapisa, ZANU-PF Provincial Coordinating Committee members who gathered here at Minda High School this Saturday had nothing but praise for the Second Republic for having embarked on independence legacy projects that have transformed this province.
City Chinhoyi province yeMat South will never be the same again. Kuyethusa abantu beMapisa ukubona umgwaqo lo uKezi Road uthiwa uyalungiswa ngoba ngumgwaqo esakhala ngawo okweminyaka leminyaka uze wazihambela uFather Zimbabwe umgwaqo nalwana oloku Strip Road Sithanda ukuthi lisibongele kumongameli welizwe ubaba uPresident Emmerson Mnangagwa ngecebo lakhe lokuthi ama celebrations devolve aye kuma provinces. We believe as Mat South thina sithole inzuzo enkulu kakhulu esizayisebenzisa ekumobilizeni abantu. Kulabanye ababesola bethandabuza bethi akusoze kuphume kuhle lokho kuyinto kwenu lokho. Kodwa abanye ngababona sebebuyile mhla ka-18 April.
Ufuna ukubonga lami lina abakhokheli beZANU-PF. Usekelo elasinika sona thina njengohulumende silungisela independence. Ukudla sakuthola kini. Izitshebo sasithola kini. Amafutha sasithola kini. Ngikhuluma wonke le diesel okunye kunengi. Angisho ukuthi uhulumende bengakhiphi, ngisho ukuthi la supporta kakhulu uhulumende engakasiniki izimali.
Sicela uyasibongela kuyis excellent. Iminyaka mingaki kube le independence eZimbabwe. Kodwa ukwanisile uyis excellent abe lehlo elibanzi. Akhumbule lapho kwavela khona indoda our late vice president uJoshua Nyongolo Mqabu konkomo. Kube isimanga comrade vice president kwaze kwanyika opposition baba.
ZANU-PF Vice President and Second Secretary, Colonel Retired Dr. Kimbo Mohadi, who addressed Matabeleland South Provincial Coordinating Committee PCC meeting at Minda High School this Saturday, ensured the province that government will complete all the independence legacy projects.
We have started it and we are going to finish. And we said all the legacy projects that we undertook are going to be completed. Maybe towards the end of this year, everything will be completed within a short space of time. Roads were rehabilitated and clinics were rehabilitated, schools were built, computers were distributed. You know, business units were done and they are very appreciative of what was done. There were just a few housekeeping issues that we were attending to, especially when it came to the mobilization of party and all the like.
Other issues under discussion were the state of the party and the Constitutional Amendment number 3 bill, with party members rallying behind the bill, saying that it will strengthen governance system and also ensure policy continuity. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Mapisa.
Zimbabwe and Equatorial Guinea have signed various instruments of cooperation on the sidelines of the Zimbabwe-Equatorial Guinea Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation ministerial session held in Harare this Saturday.
A ministerial session which is part of the inaugural Zimbabwe-Equatorial Guinea Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation held at the Harare International Conference Center this Saturday has resulted in the signing of different cooperation agreements between the two countries. The signing of the cooperation instruments further deepen Zimbabwe and Equatorial Guinea's strategic partnership across different sectors of the economy that include mining, agriculture and education. Zimbabwe's Foreign Affairs and International Trade Minister, Professor Emon Murwira, outlined a roadmap for greater institutional cooperation between the two countries.
The responsibility now shifts from negotiation to execution. The true measure of this session will not be the number of agreements signed, but the extent to which they are implemented and deliver tangible impact on the two peoples of the two countries. In this regard, all ministries, agencies, and implementing institutions must, with immediate effect, operationalize the Memoranda of Understanding and agreements concluded. Each sector must develop clear implementation plans with defined timelines, responsible focal points, and measurable outcomes.
According to Equatorial Guinea's Minister of State for Foreign Affairs, International Cooperation in the Diaspora, Mr. Simeon Oyono Sono Angu, the JPCC ensures that diplomatic cooperation between the two countries translates into concrete economic outcomes.
This mixed commission of cooperation have to serve as a platform to increase our cooperation in the prioritized sectors like agriculture, energy, mining, commerce, transport, and education, security, and tourism and technical formation.
In February 2023, during a state visit to Zimbabwe-Equatorial Guinea, the President, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, and his counterpart, Theodore Obiang Nguema Basongo, agreed to establish a Joint Permanent Commission on Cooperation, JPCC, to deepen and expand the existing bilateral relations between the two countries. John Nandara, ZBC News, Harare.
The First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, led the Chinhoyi Seven Heroes Valorun and Walkathon in Chinhoyi this Saturday. Now, this commemorated liberation fighters who died as they ignited the second Chimurenga.
First Lady Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa took the lead at the Chinhoyi Seven Heroes Veterans March and Valorun this Saturday, an event held in honor of Zimbabwe-7 liberation icons, whose youngest was only 13 years old and the oldest 21, when they made the ultimate sacrifice during the liberation struggle. The heroes, known as the Chinhoyi Seven, were Zanla guerrilla fighters who launched the second Chimurenga by fighting Rhodesian forces on the 20th of April in 1966. Despite being outnumbered and outgunned, they held out for hours, marking a pivotal moment in Zimbabwe's liberation history. The seven fallen heroes are Comrade Arthur King Maramba from Manicaland, Comrade Godfrey Matsikidze from Masvingo, Comrade Christopher Biche Tambudza from Mashonaland West, Comrade Simon Chingoja from Mashonaland East, Comrade David Guzuzu from Mashonaland Central, Comrade Chabi Sawana from Harare, and Comrade Godwin Manyeri from Midlands. The commemorative event has now culminated into a national platform that celebrates the courage and sacrifice of the seven heroes whose actions marked a pivotal chapter in Zimbabwe's liberation history. A sea of participants, stakeholders and members of the public converged in Chinhoyi for the Valorun, led by the First Lady, Dr. Auxilia Mnangagwa, in honor of the seven heroes. The Mother of the Nation led from the front as she joined multitudes of people who partook in the event, competing in the 21-kilometer, 14-kilometer, 7-kilometer and 3-kilometer races. Zimbabwe's war veterans also joined in a walkathon from the Seven Heroes building in Chinhoyi City Center to the Seven Heroes Monument. Winners were presented with medals and food hampers. Also in attendance at the event were Senate President Comrade Mabel Chinomona, ZANU-PF Secretary for War Veterans Affairs in the Politburo, Comrade Douglas Mahia, Health and Child Care Minister Dr. Douglas Mombeshora, among several other ruling party and government officials. The First Lady paid homage to the families of the seven heroes before her address. In her speech, Dr. Mnangagwa stressed the need to extend remembrance beyond the heroes themselves to their origins, families and communities by implementing tangible development initiatives.
As we commemorate today, we must focus our minds to each of these gallant sons of Zimbabwe and move a step further to pay homage to the families, villages and chieftainships where they came from. The Politburo commended the holding of these celebrations, which we are doing today, and saluted the sterling work by the team that researched and investigated about the names and origins of these gallant sons. Vanava, 37, mumwe nomumwe akabva kwaakabva, kuuya kuzobatana vasingazivane, nguva iyo hapana waibvunza kuti ndiwani wabva kupi, asi vari 7 vakarwisa hondo iyi zvisinei kuti vakabva kupi. Vana vakabva kumaprovinces akawanda akasiyana-siyana. Saka nekudaro Politburo yakaona kuti zvotoita kuti vanava tivayeuke pano pavari, asi tovayeukazve nekumisha kumaprovinces nedzimhuri dzavo kwavakabva.
She said this approach builds on existing model of decentralized independence commemorations where government has established facilities such as clinics and schools in areas linked to liberation war history. The First Lady further said the Valorun goes beyond sport, serving as a platform for education, unity and national pride.
This Valorun is more than a sporting competition. It is a living classroom for our youth, teaching you values of discipline, endurance, and sacrifice. A community celebration, uniting citizens, ndikutaura kuti inhoroondo yakadii pano yataunganira, inobatanidza isu community tichirangarira vana vedu, inotibatanidza isu sevagari noti chete vekuno kumash west but nyika yedu yese yeZimbabwe.
Dr. Mnangagwa also applauded researchers who established the identities and origins of the heroes, saying their work restores historical accuracy and strengthens the nation's collective memory. She also commended organizers and sponsors for sustaining the event, which continues to grow both as a national commemorative occasion and a tourism attraction, highlighting Chinhoyi's historical significance. Minister of Veterans of the Liberation Struggle Affairs, Comrade Monica Mavunga, said the government remains committed to ensuring that sacrifices are honored through tangible support and empowerment initiatives.
Today, we are not merely participating in a commemorative event. We are retracing the path of courage, resilience, and unwavering patriotism. Each step taken today echoes the footsteps of those who chose sacrifice over surrender and freedom over fear.
The Chinhoyi University of Technology was part of the organizers, with Dr. Nelson Zengen, who was representing the Vice-Chancellor, highlighting that the event demonstrates how academia and community can collaborate to preserve heritage, promote tourism, and inspire patriotism.
At Chinhoyi University of Technology, we have embraced the heritage-based education 5.0 philosophy and the skills-based university education model across all our academic programs. This philosophy ensures that our teaching, research, and innovation are firmly rooted in Zimbabwe's cultural, historical, and socio-economic realities.
The Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Mashonaland West Province, Honorable Marian Chombo, noted that the gathering was meant to promote the legacy of those who displayed extraordinary bravery.
Nzvimbo ino yakutikoshera uye inzvimbo inoera. Tinodada nekuti hondo yechimurenga yakatisunungura yakatangira pano, uye nekuti mhuri dzakatanga kutisunungura dziri pano. Amai kuuya kwenyu pano matikoshesera chirongwa ichochi, nekuuya kwaita mbungano yese iri pano kuno kuMashonaland West Province tinonzwa kudada.
The Valor Run, which started in 2022, continues to establish itself as a key fixture on Zimbabwe's national calendar, blending sport, remembrance, and community engagement. This year's commemorations were held under the theme 7 Brave Hearts, 15 Million Dreams, celebrating and honoring the sacrifice, bravery, and resilience by our heroes. Colette Msanyera, ZBC News, Chinhoyi.
The multi-billion-dollar investment by Dinson Iron and Steel Company is now positioning Zimbabwe as a regional steel manufacturing hub while creating employment opportunities for the local community and benefiting other downstream industries. The company continues to grow in stature, positioning itself as the major local exporter of steel in the region.
The sound of machinery and blazing furnaces trucks now define Manize, where the Dinson Iron and Steel Company is spearheading Zimbabwe's steel industry revival. The integrated plant, now over 50% in terms of operations and the likes, is expected to produce 1.2 million metric tons of steel annually in this phase. The project includes a raw material complex, sintering plant, blast furnace, pig iron processing section, steel making and rolling mills, creating a full value addition chain under this site.
We're not only supplying the local market, but definitely that's our first priority, to satisfy the local demand in terms of steel consumption. We also do export to the regional market. And also the feedback which we get from the regional market, they're quite exciting. So I think that is starting point from this plant. I think the starting point for a journey which will achieve the industrialization in the country. We talk about 2030 vision. 2030 vision can only materialize by individual, tangible, impactful projects.
Already the plant is producing hot wire rods, mining steel mill bores, water and gas pipes, bolts and nuts, products previously imported into the country.
The establishment of Dinson Iron and Steel Company in Manize has actually improved a lot of livelihoods in and around the area, because most of our employees are actually from around the area. our local workforce is actually gaining a lot from the skills transfer programs we have here.
The project is also creating tail-end industries expected to support mining, construction and manufacturing sectors.
But steel is one of the important material or product which is in line with industrialization. So we are in line with our President's vision, and we are also looking in terms of expanding our production so that at least we create more jobs. We really welcome the government policy of suspending the raw material. Why should we export raw material rather than value add to raw material? As a company, we have got a very good history of adding value to the natural resources we have in Zimbabwe. Even wherever we have got investment, we add value to produce almost a finished product rather than exporting as raw material.
As production scales up, the Manize project is increasingly becoming a symbol of Zimbabwe's drive towards industrialization, value addition and import substitution under the Second Republic. Wellington Makonese, ZBC News, Chirumanzu.
Political analysts say Clause 21 of the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 Bill, which seeks to allow traditional leaders to be part of politics, is a restoration of their political rights. Now, let's get that one from Panashe Nagoli.
Though historically traditional leaders such as Zimbabwe-Uganda and Sekuru Kaguvi played a crucial role in Zimbabwe's liberation struggle, the Constitution prohibits traditional leaders from being members of any political party or in any way participate in partisan politics. However, if passed into law, Clause 21 of the Constitutional Amendment No. 3 Bill would repeal that provision of the Constitution. Now, the clause has sparked a conversation, and at the center of that conversation lies the question, should traditional leaders be partisan?
I think they should be part of the political parties because they are also the citizens of Zimbabwe, just like me.
Now,
if passed into law, the bill would repeal Section 281, subsection 2 of the Constitution, and the conduct of traditional leaders would subsequently be provided for through an Act of Parliament.
When you look at the law as it was, it took away the rights of traditional leaders as citizens, and it also did not take into context historical realities around our traditional leaders. So it's simply an issue of giving them their constitutional rights to association.
Traditional leaders should not be partisan. Their mandate is to maintain peace, social justice and security in societies. So if they dabble in politics, it will remove their credibility, especially when they are now dealing with issues that affect the general citizens.
They must be allowed because they've always been political figures. We go back to history, we look at the Zimbabwe-Uganda. She was a religious and a political figure. We go on to the second Chimurenga, the Sekuru Rekaitangwena, who is interred at the Heroes Eka. He also participated during the liberation struggle as both a religious and a political figure. So there's nothing wrong in having them allowed to freely participate because they are the custodians of both religious, political, economic spheres of human existence.
The public consultation process on the proposed law will conclude on the 18th of May, after which the Ministry of Justice, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs will give formal notice and presentation of the bill in the National Assembly. Panashe Nagoli, ZBC News, Harare.
Our government is intensifying efforts to digitize work processes in the public sector in order to improve service delivery and productivity through a collaborative partnership between the Ministry of ICT, Postal and Courier Services and the e-government unit in the Office of the President and Cabinet.
The Minister of ICT, Postal and Courier Services, Honorable Tatenda Mavetera, highlighted several initiatives government is spearheading to accelerate digital transformation when she addressed the ICT directors in government at a workshop held in Kariba to conscientize stakeholders on the roadmap government is pursuing to address bottlenecks to advance a digital-led economy.
It's important for us to come up with initiatives that will allow Zimbabwe to digitally transform. We're grateful that His Excellency launched various initiatives that are meant for us to progress, where we need to find out how we can be able best to also save on the fiscus by consolidating our ICT departments in various MDAs, also working towards procurement, which is going to be done at one go.
The event was also attended by the e-government unit in the Office of the President and Cabinet, the Public Service Commission and Econet Wireless, among other private players.
One of the key elements and the frustrations, I think, of all citizens is that we're fragmented. When you want to do something, you move from one office to the next, one department to the next, one ministry to the next. You're being moved from pillar to post. But now if we get our data right, and we effectively curate that data, and we put an interoperability hub, we're now able to start working in a collaborative manner and also automating systems.
The importance of this is that private-public partnership is key to the development agenda. And so as the government works to accelerate its digitalization roadmap, for us to be involved in the process and for us to be a part of it is something that we cherish.
The best thing which is happening to service delivery is that we are now going to have instant service through ICTs. But doesn't mean that this is the end of employment in civil service. What we need is to adapt, reskill, and learn some of the things which we used to do and make sure that we upskill.
The workshop signals a huge milestone by government to operationalize several digitization initiatives to upscale the adoption of smart solutions and initiatives to create a modern digital economy. Owen Mandova, ZBC News.
The education infrastructure deficit is steadily narrowing after increased investment by government and its partners through the construction of new schools. Sandon Junior Primary School in Mupandawana area of Gutu district is the latest modern learning institution to be commissioned.
The private sector continues to complement government efforts in ensuring improved access to education, with communities in Gutu welcoming the opening of Senton Junior Primary School in Mpandawana this Friday. The state-of-the-art learning institution, which becomes the 7th education facility under the Senton group of schools, is expected to ease congestion at nearby schools in Mpandawana Gutu, while providing learners with access to a modern and conducive learning environment.
Pane smart boards, computer, and everything. Vana vachawana ruzivo rwakakwana. Uye vagari vemuno vachabatsirika zvikuru nekuti vanenge vowanawo mabasa. Sezvachitori kutouya kwachatoita chiri kutobatsiridza kwazvo kuti vazhinji vakatokwanisa kutowana mabasa.
Zvino vana vedu kungofamba nanoshoma shoma votosvika pano votowana dzidzo yemhando yepamusoro-soro.
Pakushanda vanhu vemucommunity vakabhenefita zvakakura, nesu tiri kutobhenefita zvakakura. Chatovhurwa futi vanhu vachapinda mabasa vachatsvaira vachadini.
Ini kuya kwakaita chikoro chino kwakandinakira zvikuru pakuti ndakazowanawo basa. The
facility was officially opened by the Deputy Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, Honorable Angelini Gata, who applauded the private sector for partnering government in expanding access to quality education infrastructure, sentiments supported by Mashingo Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution, Honorable Ezra Chadzamira.
The Minister of Primary and Secondary Education, we really appreciate the efforts of all the stakeholders, including private players, partners, in building of schools, because they are complementing the government's efforts. It's a collective effort that has to be put into our education. The government alone can't do it on their own. So private players like Senton, here we are in Gutu, Mpandawana Growth Point, to have such initiatives.
Muno masvingo tine private schools akawanda zvikuru zvinotaridza kuti vari kuteerera zviri kutaurwa nemutungamiri wenyika kuti tiachieve national vision upper middle income economy by 2030 inoda mubatira pamwe chete. Saka tinoda kuvatenda kunyanya Sandon Academy group of schools vanyanya kuvaka zvikoro zvakawanda mudunhu redu remasvingo.
Honorable Lavmo Matuke said the development reflects the organization's commitment to supporting government efforts in the education sector through investment in modern learning institutions.
Education vataura izvozvo takaona kuti regai titsigire muono wapresident wekuti izvo tidevelope nyika inoyi tisvike 2030 taapane level yokuti munhu wese unenge asvika palevel yatoti middle class economy. This is school yamuri kuona Sandon Academy Junior takaivaka muno nokuti takaona kuti vabereki vanga vachinetseka kuti vana vafambe vachienda kumaschools ari kure.
In line with the national vision of ensuring no one and no place is left behind, the government and its partners continue to ensure improved infrastructure development and investment in modern learning facilities. Ms. Matina, ZBC News, Gutu.
Remember, there is more news on our website, that is www.zbcnews.co.zw. You can also engage with us on our various social media platforms, that is Facebook, YouTube, X, as well as our WhatsApp channel. We are ZBC News Online.
And here are stories still to come in this bulletin. The government prioritizes evidence-based policymaking as local content benchmarks take center stage. And in sport, a South Africa-based pocket watch storms to Castle Tankard glory.
News at 8 takes a short break and we'll be back. Don't go away.
Zimbabwe is building. Zimbabwe is moving. The newly completed Mucheke and Manyame river bridges along the Harare-Masvingo by-bridge road stand as powerful symbols of progress under the NDS2. The Mucheke bridge forms a vital part of the Masvingo urban bypass, strengthening a key link along the busy north-south corridor to by-bridge border post. The Manyame bridge, with its 110-meter deck and deep-driven piles reaching 25 meters into solid rock, showcases advanced engineering delivered by local contractors. Built to SADC standards and designed for 100-year durability, both bridges ease congestion, enhance safety, and support growing freight traffic. Once a notorious bottleneck stretching toward Masvingo Polytechnic, this route now flows efficiently. With over 540 kilometers rehabilitated on the Harare-Masvingo by-bridge road, communities are connected and economic opportunities unlocked. This milestone reflects the visionary leadership of His Excellency, President Comrade Dr. E.D. Mnangagwa. The Manyame and Mucheke bridges, more than crossings, symbols of resilience, progress, and a pathway to national prosperity.
Every day, millions of moments travel through the air. A call home, a payment made, a lesson learned, a life saved. But behind each moment is something steady, something quiet, unseen, unshaken, powering connection, supporting lives. This is Econet Infraco, Zimbabwe's largest private infrastructure group, comprising towers, power, and real estate. We build and operate the essential systems that hold the country together with scale, certainty, and purpose. We bring together three powerful engines of progress under one roof. Towers that carry the signal, clean energy that keeps it alive, and foundations that hold it all in one place. Because behind every connection, every transaction, every step forward, there's a quiet force. Econet Infraco, built for resilience, designed for growth.
Welcome back. Collaboration between Zimbabwe and Botswana in the fight against transboundary cattle diseases is bearing fruit, with more than 70,000 cattle in border-lying areas being vaccinated against foot and mouth disease.
Zimbabwe and Botswana have intensified the fight against transboundary cattle diseases in Matabeleland South, with the Botswanan government availing 100,000 doses of vaccines as part of the binational program. Under the program, Matabeleland South has vaccinated more than 72,000 cattle in borderline areas.
This program is a binational program that covers the government of Zimbabwe and the government of Botswana, where we are collaborating in trying to control transboundary disease. But most importantly, this program was targeting foot and mouth disease, where we vaccinated 4 districts. We vaccinated Mangwe, Matobo, Uganda and Beitbridge district, where we got over 93% success rate of the vaccination campaign.
We did a total of 14 serum and FTA cuts at Mangwe district. But generally, we didn't pick any new FMD lesions. Generally, the farming community was observed to be very cooperative and taking part in the FMD vaccination.
The binational program is set to cement the strong cooperation and commitment between Zimbabwe and Botswana in protecting communities against adverse effects of climate change.
Our two countries continue to demonstrate the importance of strong bilateral relations that we have established, and the regional cooperation in responding to effectively managing animal disease outbreaks. The campaign is an important step towards controlling the spread of FMD and strengthening animal health systems in our region. As you know, this disease has not only affected our two countries, but has spread throughout the southern region, and we continue as a region to try and address these issues.
Zimbabwe this year launched large-scale vaccination campaigns, starting with high-risk areas like Masvingo and Matabeleland South, targeting the protection of the national herd to secure rural livelihoods. Providence Maranelli, ZBC News, Gwanda.
Meanwhile, government and its partners have taken a major step in protecting the national herd after the commissioning of a fully equipped clinical skills center at Mazowe Veterinary College.
The Clinical Skills Center, commissioned in Mazowe on Thursday, represents more than just a brick-and-mortar building, but a direct investment in Zimbabwe's agricultural future. Students and staff warmly welcomed the opening of the practical learning facility as it will enhance their studies.
With the introduction of the lab, I feel that we're more going to be able to observe a more scientific aspect of veterinary medicine as compared to what we're doing before, because now we have the introduction of microscopes and a whole model that you can withdraw blood from. We had to go to the section before to get it from live animals.
Laboratory ishatibatsira kuti tiite madiagnosis ezvirwere tichishandisa mishina yezvizvino-zvino.
The Clinical Skills Center donated by Working Animals International, which was formerly SPANA, is a very good development in our training program and also in the fulfillment of Agricultural for Development 5.0. It enables our students to have hands-on exposure.
The laboratory was built with funding from Working Animals International with a special focus on improving welfare.
My team and I work with vet extension officials daily all over the country. And these staff, who are what many of you will become once you graduate, are the life's blood of the vet scene in Zimbabwe. When we realized this is what moved us to seek to be involved in training here, particularly equid training of students
Government highlighted that the Clinical Skills Center is a timely strategic intervention to protect the national herd and secure regional animal health at a time diseases are threatening viability for livestock farmers.
This donation comes at a critical time in our region in Southern Africa pertaining to FMD, foot and mouth disease outbreaks, and Zimbabwe is at the center of this storm. Controlling FMD and other transboundary animal diseases demands not only vaccines and fences, but it also demands skilled personnel who can diagnose, respond, and prevent outbreaks.
Working animals, estimated at 200 million globally, are key in helping people, particularly farmers, to improve their lives by increasing agricultural productivity. Utapiwa Manchemedze, ZBC News, Mazowe.
The Mashonaland West Amai's traditional cookout competition held in Kadoma this Thursday focused on the promotion of domestic tourism through harnessing traditional dishes.
Peter Paradza.
Peter Paradza emerged as the overall winner at the Mashonaland West provincial cookout competition held in Kadoma this Thursday. A total of 42 participants took part in the provincial cookout competition, comprising 9 professional chefs, 6 students, 17 community representatives, and 10 people with disabilities. The event is aimed at promoting culinary skills, cultural diversity, and inclusivity, while providing a platform for participants to showcase traditional and modern cooking techniques.
Ndinowa kutapirirwa nechirongwa chakaitwa naamai chema-traditional foods edu chinotarisa munhu wese akaremara neasina. Isi takatarisa navanhu vakaremara indahwina pano ndiri kubandiko ravakaremara.
Tinokuwa futi challenge kunzi chikafu chedu chatinacho ichocho ngatise value addition tichinakisawo futi chike chiri chikafu chinonakidza kana kutarisa maziso zvinobatsira kwete isisi chete but even magenerations ari kuteera.
So we learned that it's not just about the food that is outside. We can make creative food, delicious food and healthy food with our own original ingredients.
Government says our focus is on advancing domestic tourism with particular emphasis on promoting traditional dishes.
Let's create jobs out of gastronomy tourism. The whole value chain in gastronomy tourism iri kutangira mumunda mufunge. Agona kurima pamuri kupiwa mbeu paya namai yavakatangira kumadzimai emadzimambo. Nepamuri ndo zvazoita kuti president vazotanga ma-nutrition gardens. Kuti vanhu vadyawo zvine utano mumba mavo minister, but also ucharima ne-access, but woendesa kupi president vakabva vapinza rural industrialization. Usatambura kutauni kunouya ikoko. Kwete kuti mose kukadoma kunotsvaka basa. Ivo president vari kuita ma-nutritional gardens. Isuwo takuya ne-rural tourism ikoko.
Toda kuti mukwanise kuti batsirawo ku-establish a gastronomy hub muno mu Chinhoyi. Yes. Inenge ichilidwa nema-community kuti vanyatso ratidza zvevanokwanisa kuita.
The event ended on a high note with Miss Nashi Roberts, a wheelchair-bound contestant, leading a dance routine as Mashonaland West celebrated the opportunity to compete in the prestigious competition. Tamuka Charakupa, ZBC News, Kadoma.
And now we're celebrating the life of Zayoja pastor Reverend Angela Kapandura, who died last Monday and was laid to rest in Guruve on Friday amid tributes from government leaders, the church, as well as relatives.
Powerful testimonies and scriptures dominated the burial ceremony of Reverend Angela Kapandura at Mudindo in Guruve on Friday, reflecting a life of faith and dedication to Christianity.
Here in the March Central Province,
the one we call March Central Province,
church iripo,
you don't go too far.
Child evangelism.
Children's church. Who built those? Is this woman. not thinking about yourself,
asingazvitariri
not looking at
asina
yourself,
kuzvikudza kana
no
kudaro
pride.
uyu mukadzi uyu
This woman
kubatsira hama
helping
chirikadzi
relatives and widows
nevamwe vakadaro
and many others
kuzvikata padhuze
to
ane
cut it short.
over 13 to 14 medical doctors.
Zayoja Forward in Faith Archbishop Dr. Joseph Joe Guti reflected on the life of service lived by Reverend Kapandura.
Upenyu unosvika pakuguma seizvozvi asi mabasa anoramba achipupura saka muchinzwa achitaura soko rekuti legacy continues. Mwari komborera vanofamba munzira dzaJesu.
Mashonaland Central Minister of State for Provincial Affairs and Devolution Honorable Christopher Magomo said the death of Reverend Kapandura extends beyond the church.
Tarasikirwa seguruve.
As Guruwe, we have lost a lot.
Tarasikirwa seprovince.
As a province, we have lost.
Tarasikirwa zvakare senyika.
As a nation, we have lost.
Mabasa amaita manzwa. Mabasa avo ndakatarisa hwandu uri pano anotitsanangurira. Kureva kuti tiri kuchema.
Meaning we are mourning.
Gamba guru.
The late Reverend Kapandura was married to Zayoja Bishop Christopher Kapandura and served alongside him for 44 years, taking part in pastoral work, women's ministry and community development projects. She played a pivotal role in construction of more than 70 church buildings, established a primary school, a women's empowerment center and a series of agricultural cooperatives that benefited hundreds of families in Guruwe district. Tapiwa Machemedze, ZBC News, Guruwe.
We'll take a breather. Join us for business news right after this.
Hundreds of battles fought across the continent by the princes of Europe. But history doesn't care who almost won. It only remembers the name on the trophy.
Where does football go from here?
One night to decide it all on the ultimate stage. 30th of May. Stay connected and watch DSTV to catch the UEFA Champions League final. It's on.
Progress never sleeps, and Zimbabwe's infrastructure transformation continues to light the way forward. The Harare urban section of the Harare-Kanyemba Road project is making remarkable progress with the successful installation of modern LED street lighting along the dual carriageway, marking another key milestone in the country's infrastructure development agenda. Implemented by the government of Zimbabwe through the Ministry of Transport and Infrastructural Development, the lighting system features durable galvanized steel single-arm poles strategically positioned on both sides of the roadway to deliver uniform, high-intensity illumination across the entire carriageway. Beyond enhancing the corridor's visual appeal, the upgraded lighting significantly improves nighttime visibility, road safety, traffic flow, and security for motorists, pedestrians, and surrounding communities, reducing accident risks, improving travel efficiency, and stimulating economic activity along this strategic northern corridor. This reinforces government's commitment to delivering modern, safe, and reliable transport infrastructure that drives national development and leaves no one and no place behind. Kilometer by kilometer, Zimbabwe is building the future.
Our government is seeking to enhance evidence-based policy making with the need to establish benchmarks in setting up a viable local content policy taking center stage in Harare this Thursday.
The local content policy is designed to encourage and promote the direct consumption of locally produced goods and the use of local inputs in the manufacturing of goods to reduce imports, create jobs, and strengthen local value chains. The Ministry of Industry and Commerce instituted a research led by the Confederation of Zimbabwe Industries to establish challenges being faced to effectively implement this policy.
They've identified 16 sectors which are supposed to be localized
They have completed studies in 9 sectors. The critical things in these studies, setting thresholds, which would then inform policy to regulate to say for example, in textile sector, 70% of production should be local. And you can't just set up 70% without evidence.
The Competition and Tariffs Commission is also keen on establishing a framework that fosters growth in all sectors of the economy.
From our mandate also of assisting local industries in terms of trade tariff assistance, it was now very important for us to come through in our analysis, as we also want to see in terms of the incentives that are there to support those established local content threshold. What also can we do from competition perspective and also from trade tariff assistant mandate that we do.
Mr. Lloyd Nyemba, who was engaged by CZI to research on the iron and steel industry, highlights there is a commendable progress to cut imports in the sector.
It is quite encouraging right now that there is this local content initiative which can definitely improve the capacity utilization in the local players who are actually operating way lower than the optimal capacity utilization levels.
The local content policy validation engagement covered the textiles and clothing, soaps and detergents, oilseeds, wood, timber, iron and steel, dairy, as well as the leather industry, among others. Owen Mandova, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwe's continued participation at the Venice Biennale in Italy is proving to be more than an artistic showcase, with the country's consistent presence now opening doors to global partnerships, collaborations, as well as opportunities for the cultural sector.
For 8 editions, Zimbabwe has used the prestigious global platform not only to exhibit contemporary art, but to position itself within influential international cultural networks. The relationships built in Venice are now translating into tangible benefits for Zimbabwe's arts industry. National Gallery of Zimbabwe Executive Director Mr. Raphael Chukukwa said, collaborations born out of meetings held in Venice have resulted in partnerships with institutions such as Mellon Foundation and Higher Life Foundation, while new cultural ties have also emerged between Zimbabwe and Italy.
Over the years, there are so many synergies that have been created. You're talking about our artists being showcased by big galleries in New York, in London, in Paris. The synergy that we have today with the Mellon Foundation was born out of our meeting with Deborah, just down at the restaurant at the bridge, to discuss about how the Mellon Foundation can collaborate. And one of the most as well important collaboration, when I came here with the VP Mohadi in 2024, I received an email from Joanna Masiwa. This is where our discussion started, here in Venice.
He added that these engagements continue to elevate Zimbabwean artists onto global platforms, with local creatives now gaining visibilities in galleries and exhibitions across the world in New York, London, Paris and Romania. The growing international confidence in Zimbabwe's arts sector has also seen the country securing the hosting rights for the 58th Annual Conference of International Committee for Museums and Collections of Modern Art, CIMAM, set for Harare in November. For Zimbabwe, the Venice Biennale is no longer just about exhibiting art in a city built on water. It is about building lasting cultural diplomacy, global info opportunity through creativity. Patience Nyagato, ZBC News, Venice.
We're off to a break. We'll be back shortly with sport.
Hundreds of battles fought across the continent by the princes of Europe.
Astonishing!
But history doesn't care who almost won. It only remembers the name on the trophy.
Where does football go from here?
One night to decide it all on the ultimate stage. 30th of May. Stay connected and watch DSTV to catch the UEFA Champions League final. It's on.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. A South Africa-based pocket watch galloped to victory in Zimbabwe's only Grade 1 race, the Castle Tankard, handing trainer Thomas Mason his second title in the country's premier contest this Saturday.
20 horses broke down at the field, and as the dust settled, only one name rang out: Thomas Mason, who has done it again. Last edition, he won it with Action Zone, and this time his champion was a pocket watch, a 3-year-old, all the way from South Africa, and came in last year, October. And at this time, it was the emerging winner, which took the unfamiliar hemisphere on its slender shoulders.
The lighter weight horses in the race normally win the Tankard because it's a hard race, they go fast. So, well, at ticket you haven't got a chance, and I thought, you know what, he deserves a go. Let's have a crack. And like I said, fantastically ridden by my jockey. I couldn't praise him more.
The Castle Tankard has wrapped up at 66th edition as the horses have headed to their winter quarters, and now it's up to next year as we wait for the next edition to see what we may anticipate on what will unfold next year. Anna Shembrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
Zimbabwean golfer Kieran Vincent produced a sensational third-round charge at the FBC Zim Open this Saturday, firing a brilliant 7 under par 65 to surge into a tie for 7th place at Royal Harare Golf Club.
Vincent now leads the local challenge at 9 under par and remains firmly in contention heading into the final round of Zimbabwe's flagship golf tournament. The Zimbabwean ace, who recently returned to the LIV Golf League as a wildcard entry, delivered one of the standout performances of the day to keep alive hopes of a first local triumph at the tournament in 26 years. Darlington Chikanyambidzi also remains in the hunt at 4 under par, while Michael Wallace sits at 2 under par with 1 round left to play. However, South Africa's Elton van der Merwe continues to set the pace after extending his lead to 16 under par. The young South African professional, who rose to prominence after winning the inaugural African Amateur Championship at Leopold Creek, appears on course for the title heading into the final day. Zimbabwean golfers have been chasing a home victory at the Zimbabwe Open since 2000, with the local hopes now resting heavily on Vincent ahead of Sunday's decisive final round. Anna Shembrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
At the highly anticipated encounter between former PSL champions FC Platinum and defending league champions Scotland failed to live up to expectations as the two sides settled for a 0-0 draw at Mandava Stadium this Saturday.
FC Platinum dominated proceedings from the opening whistle, with Trevor Bunu hitting the crossbar. The match also marked Norman Mapeza's first return to Mandava since leaving FC Platinum last season. His side struggled to match the host, who controlled much of the game. Despite failing to convert their chances, the Platinum Miners remained the better side throughout, while Scotland battled to create meaningful opportunities. The second half saw Walter and Knowledge Musona, as well as Timon Machope, introduced for the visitors in place of Emmanuel Zivocha, Nathan Mutasa and Isaka Gurab, but FC Platinum continued to dominate until the final whistle. The result means the defending champions have failed to reduce the gap at the top significantly after only picking up 1 point. Meanwhile, Hard Rock claimed Midland's bragging rights after dismantling Tail 1-3-0 to roam to the top of the log, while Chicken Inn fell 1-0 away to Moz. Manica Diamonds secured their first win of the season after beating Agama 3-1 at Sakuva, while Simba Bora edged ZPC Kariba 2-1. FC Hunters and Ngezi Platinum Stars played to a 1-0 draw as Vulawa Chiefs and the Rendals shared the spoils in a 4-goal thriller at Babafield Stadium. Attention now shifts to the Harare Derby this Sunday, where Dynamos host Capes United at Rufaro Stadium. Both sides are coming from defeats, setting the stage for a potentially explosive clash. Highlanders will also be chasing their second win of the campaign when they host Triangle at Baba Fields.
Zimbabwean international and Paris FC midfielder Marshall Munetsi has commended the president, Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa, for supporting football development after the launch of the Munomutapa Challenge Cup, which kicked off last weekend.
The Munomutapa Challenge Cup was launched by President Dr. Emmerson Mnangagwa in March, and the first round matches kicked off last weekend across the country. The tournament, which carries a sponsorship package worth $25 million United States dollars over the next 5 years, has been held as a major boost for Zimbabwean football. Munetsi says that the competition is one of the biggest developments in the country's football history, as it caters for the entire football ecosystem from grassroots to top-flight football.
It is a massive development for Zimbabwean football. The Zifa Munomutapa Cup Challenge is just not another tournament. For me, it's the biggest competition in our nation's history, football history. And what also makes it special, it speaks to the entire football ecosystem, you know, from the grassroots to the lower divisions, right up to the top level. So for me, I think this is exactly the kind of structure Zimbabwean football needs. It gives every player in every corner of the country something to dream about. And for me, as a person who grew up in Zimbabwe, you know, I definitely understand how big it is. It is going to be for everybody, you know, who's going to be involved in it, you know, not only the players, but even the communities from all corners of Zimbabwe. And for this also, I'd like to sincerely thank, you know, His Excellency, President Mnangagwa, for investing in the game and for believing that football can change lives.
The on-loan Wolverhampton Wanderers midfielder also praised the new club owners for revitalizing domestic football and urged the supporters to continue backing the local game.
Just have to fill up the stadiums. You know, some of us also privileged to be watching the games from far. We have seen how football has been turning around in Zimbabwe. There's so many big teams now, so much competition that is there. And I think we just have to rally behind the country. Development begins at home, and also, you know, for them to continue also rallying behind us and supporting every team that is going to be participating.
Munetsi has been out of the Warriors setup since suffering an injury last year before a fallout with then Warriors coach Marion Marinika. Indications are that the talented midfielder could soon return to the national team fold, with interim Warriors coach Kaitano Tembo reportedly keen on bringing him back into the squad. Lawrence Trosida, ZBC News, Harare.
St. George's College has served as the proud venue for the annual Nutriactive Rugby Festival, a tournament dedicated to nurturing grassroots talent from across the nation.
50 schools converged at the prestigious event featuring young athletes from as young as under 13 level. The festival coincided with a historic milestone for the host as St. John's College celebrates 130 years of existence. The institution marked the occasion in style, bringing together emerging talent to promote rugby development while giving youngsters a taste of competitive fun before the school term begins.
It's very profound because it allows schools and teams from every different level within the structure of rugby at under 16, under 15, under 14, under 13 to mix, and it's a great leveler. It allows all teenagers within those age groups to come together, share skills, share their enthusiasm for the game, and it's a celebration of rugby.
National Foods has backed the tournament for a 4th consecutive year as part of its commitment to grassroots development.
It's growing more and more, and we hope it will continue to grow. You know, it's very broad-based. I think you've got schools here from all corners of the country, which is great, and you can see highly competitive games, so the boys are enjoying themselves.
The festival is the latest breeding ground for rugby talent in the country. Anna Shambrombedzi, ZBC News, Harare.
Time for the weather report and forecast.
Hello, welcome. It's time for you with the news. Much of the country yesterday experienced mostly sunny and warm conditions, except for the northwestern regions, which experienced isolated thundershowers late in the afternoon into the night, with Harare Royal Golf Club recording a maximum of 22 millimeters. Now, looking at what transpired today, we had clear conditions prevailing in most areas across Zimbabwe, while the northeastern parts of the country had partly cloudy conditions. Cold in the morning over Matabeleland South As the day progressed, we had warm conditions prevailing in all areas. Tonight, clear skies are expected across much parts of the country, except for the bit of clouds over Manicaland as well as parts of Matabeleland South. Should feel a little warmer tomorrow as we expect more sunny conditions across much parts of the country. Brief cloudy periods over Manicaland area as well as Matabeleland South. Isolated showers cannot be ruled out in parts of Manicaland provinces. Now, as we move on, we're expecting cool morning conditions and warm afternoons for Bulawayo throughout the forecast period under sunny skies. As we move on, Matopos as well, same conditions are expected, cool morning conditions and warm afternoons under clear skies throughout the forecast period. Uganda as well, in Matabeleland South, a bit of clouds for Sunday, clearing as we get into Monday next week. Cool in the morning, becoming warm as the day progresses. Gray in the Midlands, a bit of clouds on Monday into the week. Cool at first, becoming warm as the day progresses. Masvingo, sunny skies expected throughout the forecast period. Mild at first, becoming hot by the afternoon as we're expecting more sunshine. Manicaland, Mutare, a bit of clouds on Sunday. Cool at first, becoming warm as the day progresses throughout the forecast period. Nyanga as well, partly cloudy conditions throughout the forecast period up to Tuesday. Cold in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. For Marondera, a bit of clouds for Sunday, but mostly sunny for much of the forecast period. Cool at first, becoming warm by the afternoon. An increase in maximum temperatures for Monday in Harare, though cool at first, becoming warm as the day progresses on the other days. Kadoma as well. Cloudy nights for Monday, cool in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Chinhoyi as well, sunny skies for Sunday and Monday, getting cloudy Tuesday onwards. Cool at first, becoming warm by the afternoon. Victoria Falls, a bit of clouds on Monday, though mild in the morning with warm afternoon conditions. Now moving on, Lupane, Matabeleland North, sunny skies expected, though the morning should be cool with warm afternoon conditions. Bindura, a bit of clouds are expected. Cool in the morning, becoming warm by the afternoon. Kariba, the northwestern parts of the country, a bit of clouds are expected. Mild in the morning, becoming warm by the night. Good night.
The weather report concluding this news bulletin from all of us here is good night.
Good night.
It was day 3 and action got to another level. The Zimbabwean story continues to grow with some breathtaking performances as well as some that can improve on day 4.